We had a rape victim that was due in court. She didn't show up. The judge gave us a day and a half to find her. So we have to drive around all these trap houses and crack houses looking for her because sadly she was also an addict.
Yes.
And this rookie was driving us. Well, he was getting kind of irritated that we were just going to these, horrible locations. And he said, why are we doing this? Like, doesn't even matter. And Nancy was like, swans don't swim in a sewer.
That's
And
right.
it just hit me. And she's like, where do you think we have to go to find her? She's not going to be at a college. She's not going to be at a church. She's not going to be at a, posh mall. We've got to go where she's going to be in order to keep this man, this monster, off the street.
Hey, everybody. How you doing? Welcome back to the Another Nobody podcast with me, your favorite nobody, Travis Myers. Today's guest is Sheryl McCollum, affectionately known in our little crime world as Mac. And Mac is a very, very, well, shall I say, exceptionally interesting woman. She's a CSI investigator out of Atlanta, Georgia, but also does all kinds of things with television. She's got a book coming out. She does things with wildlife. She's just an amazing person. We're really excited to talk to her today. And that's it. Let's get with Mac. Hey, how you doing? It's me again, another nobody, Travis Myers. And today we're going to talk whiskey. I know most of you think of me as an all-American patriotic type guy, and you are right. But when it comes to whiskey and drinking whiskey, which I do, I always go for the Irish stuff. And my choice when it comes to the Irish stuff is Powers Irish Whiskey. Established back in 1791, it's a triple distilled, oak-aged whiskey. Powers is simply magic. It also happens to be the #1 selling whiskey in Ireland, which has got to say something, because if it's good enough for the Irish, it's good enough for you. So the next time you raise a glass, fill it with Powers, and think of me, another nobody, Travis Myers. This is a 2024 American Eagle gold coin, which I bought along with several others last year. I'm very happy to report that its value has gone up over 40% in the first year. See, I was encouraged to buy some gold by a financial advisor friend who suggested I be more diversified with my investments. She said gold and silver was a very safe place to park some money, as well as a good hedge against inflation. So I took her advice, and all I can say is I wish I had bought more, as it's been so very, very good to us so far. Now, I purchased these gold coins from the good people over at stackingboise.com, who could not have been nicer, more knowledgeable, or more helpful. Now, I'm certainly no financial expert, but I will say from experience, if you're looking to make an investment, buy yourself some gold. And some real gold that you could hold in your hand, just like this coin you see here. And if you do, then do like I did and get with the good folks over at stackingboise.com. I'm telling you, they're good people, they took good care of me, and they'll take good care of you. Again, that's stackingboise.com. And hey, tell them Travis sent you. Hey there, Mac. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Travis, this is overdue, honey.
And I'm so happy we're able to get together. Our audience doesn't know how hard a time we've had trying to get together between me and you.
It's been insane. But, we've had so many conversations over the phone. I'm so excited about Boston. I mean, there's just a lot that we've already kind of planned out and mapped out, but this is great.
Yeah. Well, you, which I just told our listeners in our little intro, are a very, very busy woman. I don't know how you do all the things you do. I mean, I like to say that Sheryl Mac McCollum is an interesting person. She's not. She's an exceptionally interesting person. all right?
I appreciate that. Well,
Well, it's the
I
truth.
tell people, and listen, when I teach at the academy, I tell young people, don't discount luck. I'm very lucky, Travis.
Yeah,
And I'll tell you right off the rip, like, you already mentioned it on the phone and we've talked about it before, but you mentioned that I work with Nancy Grace a lot. And I'll tell your listeners, I know you know because we're friends, but Nancy and I met in our 20s. When I was assigned to the major case division, she
yes.
just happened to be the prosecutor assigned to zone 3 in the major case division. That's luck. There were 72 ADAs in that office, and I could have
Well,
got any of them, but I got her. And that
it's
changed the trajectory of my career, I'll tell you straight up.
it's luck, but it's also hard work on both parts. You were both doing the job,
Yeah, I mean, I
and
was
that's how
working.
you
I
met.
mean, no question. But I'm just saying it could have been anybody, but it was her. So I don't take for granted, any good favor. That's what it is. And,
Yes.
she taught me a lot and we became, good friends pretty quick because, you've seen her on TV. Y'all ought to see her in person. Good Lord.
Well,
You
I've met
know,
her actually at CrimeCon,
she's,
you know?
she's just a tornado, right? So
She is a bundle of energy, man. She
she
really is,
is. She don't
you
have
know?
quit in her, and,
Yeah.
she's gonna go after somebody, and it's a
And
great
let me
thing.
tell you something about the very little that I know about Nancy Grace, but something that you're gonna be able to say now is, um, she can be, and I'm not trying to insult Nancy, if you see this, I'm not insulting you, honey, all right? But she has quite an edge on television, okay?
Huh,
And myself, I don't since for me, the crime world has always been within my world, the people that I know, the Bronx. Outside of that, I really just never really cared. All right. And so I didn't really care about her on television. Of course, I've seen her dozens and dozens and dozens of times. Um, but of course, I'm an old, jaded, beat up detective. I meet somebody from the press. I don't talk to the press. I don't care. Means nothing to me. I don't think I've ever met anybody immediately nicer or sweeter to me for no reason other to be nice, okay?
100%.
And it was so I guess the word might be juxtaposed or opposite to the way that her television persona, that tough, snappy, dare I say bitchy, I don't wanna say that and get in trouble, but she's
Mm,
got that real edge to her, you know?
sure,
And when I met her, she was just an absolute doll. She really was.
no
So,
question, and that's her. The deal is, if you're just dealing with Nancy on just a human, everyday level, that's what you're gonna get, kind, sweet, generous. But if you're talking about somebody that needs to go to prison, she ain't
mhm.
gonna smile when she talks about it.
No,
She's not gonna smile
no,
when she talks about you. She's gonna
right.
give you a nickname that you don't enjoy, and she's not gonna stop till you're convicted.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
that's
no, and I
just
appreciate that.
I do
Uh,
too. I
again,
do
it just
too.
the Nancy that I thought I knew from television was
That's
not the
right.
Nancy that I met in real life,
That's right.
not
But
by
you
a
know
long
what I
shot.
often tell people, Travis? They say, "Oh, I can't stand her. She's so aggressive. She's so this." If your mama was missing, you
No,
want her on
absolutely.
that case or not?
That's right.
That's
That's right.
it. And
Yeah,
and she got in this thing not like I did. I got in this thing because I enjoyed it and I had adrenaline and I loved it and I couldn't not do it. She got in it because the person that she was going to marry was murdered.
yes.
That's a real different avenue. So
Oh, absolutely,
nothing but respect,
absolutely.
And again, like you
But
said,
it
she's
was
just a wonderful person.
that was kinda like the Joan Rivers had a bit. I wish I'd see if I could find it on YouTube somewhere. You remember Joan Rivers, the
I
comedian?
do. Uh-huh.
And she did a bit on police brutality, and of course, she would start we're to talk about police brutality, and everybody'd be like, "Oh," the whole screaming about it, because, yeah, police are so brutal. She says, "I don't know about you, but when I call the police, I want the most brutal officer on the department to show up." Of course, it was much funnier than what I'm
Sure.
saying, but
Yeah.
it was a good point to make, and yes,
Yeah.
I definitely would want Nancy to be on my side,
Yep.
so
Come here,
but,
honey.
we're not here to talk about Nancy, we're here to talk about you.
Okay.
So, again, yeah, a very, very, very interesting woman. So many different irons in the fire. You've been doing the detective police officer thing for 40 what? How many years?
I've been in criminal justice for 44 years. I've been a crime
44
scene
years.
investigator for the last 10, and
Mhm.
I've been a probation officer. I've been a sheriff's deputy. I've done a gambit of things because it's all fascinating to me. I love all of it. So
Yes.
I've worked in the jail, I've worked probation, I've worked, mass disasters, I've worked a lot of stuff.
And this is
Um,
always in the Atlanta area.
Always in Atlanta,
Yeah, and you are an Atlanta girl, born and raised.
born and raised, Fulton
Yes.
County, educated all the way through Fulton County. I
All
went
right,
to
very
Woodward
good.
Academy and then I went to Georgia State University.
So along with that, okay, and all this, you've, as we just discussed, fell into television with
Yeah,
not just Nancy Grace, but with the local news program,
correct,
CSI Atlanta.
correct. So
Tell us a
Karen
little bit about that.
Greer is a buddy of mine, and she's a local celebrity, an anchor that everybody loves and trusts. And she wanted to do a segment on cold cases. And so they called it CSI Atlanta, and I was their CSI. So Karen and I would go back to these historic crime scenes, walk them, talk about it, see if there was something we could think of to do to push the case forward. And we were pretty successful. We solved many cases working off TV. And, again, this, Travis, but TV solves cases. You don't have to look
Well, it
any
definitely
further to
helps.
John
Yeah.
Walsh or Cold Justice or any of it. If people are
Yes.
watching TV, they can help you solve a cold case. So that's
Actually,
what we did.
it was a problem that we had in, the Bronx where I worked. We called it Bronx is the forgotten borough of New York City, is that we got no attention.
Mm,
We didn't get attention from television, we get attention from the newspaper.
right.
There was a thing I remember reading back in my time, I think it was New York Magazine did it, where they talked about it was 8 or 9 homicides that happened in 1 week in the Bronx, okay? Not one made the paper. And so they
Mm,
picked up the story was that none of this made the paper, you know?
yeah.
And it's
Wow.
just again, just completely nobody cared. And I'm sure it's the same today. Nobody cared. Nobody cares about the Bronx, I'm sorry to say,
Mm,
you know? But again, we're not talking about me, we're talking about you. Uh, so yeah, and you actually won an Emmy.
we did. We
Yes.
did. It was
Well, you
insane.
yourself did.
I have the Emmy right over there. I can go get it if you wanna
Yes.
see it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great, man. No,
Yeah.
that's really, really
I
cool.
think I'm the only crime scene investigator that ever won an Emmy, but again, it's because of Karen Greer. I mean, Karen is just that gifted. She's a storyteller. People
Mhm.
trust her,
Yeah,
and the way she frames these cases, you just have to pay attention to them.
right. Well, again, there you are, being noble and giving credit to somebody else, but you did the work. There's no doubt about that. You
Well,
did the
I
work.
did get to stand next to her.
Yes. And now you have your own podcast, which is a Zone 7 podcast. That's
Mhm.
going very well.
I never thought I would do it. I didn't have any interest in it. I didn't really understand it. And Nancy said, "You've got to do one." And I was like, "Nancy, there's no way. I mean, I don't have time to do it. I don't know anything about how to edit or put it out there. I don't even know what the platforms are." So
Right.
she and Joe Scott Morgan were fabulous in helping me. And, Jackie Howard got involved and, Dave Mack and said, "Hey, we will help you do this." So one of the main reasons that I finally said yes to it, and I think you will appreciate this, but you have grown children. They
Yes.
don't know all your stories, Travis. My
No.
children don't
No.
know all my stories. They've heard me talk about this friend or that friend, but some of them they've never met. So
Yeah.
I've been able to have friends on the show talking about our days doing this or that, like Weed and Seed or the Olympics or 9/11. And now my children, they're saved. If they want to hear them long after, they can do
Yes.
that, which I think is
Yes.
super cool.
Well, I found that with people that I've interviewed also, they quite often they're like, "Oh, I don't know if I wanna come on," but once they come on and tell their story, they're thrilled
Right.
because it's a record now. It's something their
That's
kids can
right.
watch, their grandkids can watch, other people watch. It happened with me. I never listened to a podcast once until I was on one,
Mhm.
okay, as a guest,
Mhm.
and then I was on maybe a dozen of them. And in
Yeah.
fact, I fell into this. I was talked into doing this, to starting this by, what's his name? Justin Evans of Generation Y.
Oh,
Okay.
sure. Generation
Yeah,
Y is
big
great.
show. I
Yeah.
was on his side show, oh, shame on me, I'm not gonna be able to remember the name of it now. The Peripheral, okay? This his side show, The Peripheral, and I was on there, and we talked for almost 2 hours, and he said, "Travis," he said, "I would tell anybody else, I would say, 'Don't do this because it's oversaturated, blah, 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 blah. He says, "But you are a character, my friend, and people are gonna listen to you, and it turns out we're doing great."
Yeah.
So,
But you're
yeah.
a grandfather now. So that's a
Yes, I
double
am.
reason to make
Yes.
sure these stories are preserved.
Yeah. No, it's a very cool thing. It's a very cool medium all the way around. So,
Agreed.
yeah. And, um, I don't know if we wanna get here now or save it for later, but why not? We're here. You are soon to be an author.
Yes.
Well, I mean, technically, you are an author because the book is written, but comes
Yeah,
out in May?
it does. It can be
Right.
pre-ordered, but it doesn't come
Yes.
out until May. But it's
Right.
called Swans Don't Swim in a Sewer.
Yes.
And that title came from Nancy Grace. We had a rape victim that was due in court. She didn't show up. The judge gave us a day and a half to find her. So we have to drive around all these trap houses and crack houses looking for her because sadly she was also an addict.
Yes.
And this rookie was driving us. Well, he was getting kind of irritated that we were just going to these, horrible locations. And he said, why are we doing this? Like, doesn't even matter. And Nancy was like, swans don't swim in a sewer.
That's
And
right.
it just hit me. And she's like, where do you think we have to go to find her? She's
Mhm.
not going to be at a college. She's not going to be at a church. She's not going to be at a, posh mall. We've got to go where she's going to be in order to
Absolutely.
keep this man, this monster, off the street. So I always remembered that. So when it came time to have a title for the book, that's what I thought was the most important because it ended up, I took her advice either subconsciously or consciously. So there was a young lady that was beheaded and dismembered in Atlanta. And her mama came to me at an event and said, will you help me? And I told her, yes. That's all she said. My
Yeah.
daughter was beheaded. Will you help me? And, the first thing, Travis, is I was like, how do I not know this case? Like, all of us hang out. We have drinks, we have dinner, we have choir practice. Like, how have I never heard of
We have
this
choir practice.
of this young lady that's
Mhm.
been beheaded? I'd never heard it. Well, turns out it's because she was misidentified as a male, her skull. And fast forward, it turns
I'm
out that
sorry, repeat that again. She was misidentified as a male.
so the Atlanta police had a skull. They knew it to be a Caucasian male because that's what it came back as. So they don't even know they have a missing person. When her mama calls, she's married with children. And they're like, ma'am, she can run away from you if she wants to. She's grown. She's married. Her husband
Yes.
hasn't reported her
Yes.
missing. We can't
Mhm.
start an investigation. We have nothing, right?
Yep.
So her hometown police department told her the same thing. She goes back and forth trying to get somebody to do something. Finally, there was an officer in her hometown, Henry County, that said, look, I'm going to make a report that you came here so we can at least have a paper trail, but there's nothing I can do. So when she first came to meet me, she had a binder. And so I instinctively reached for the binder because I want to get in this thing, right? I am dying to know how is it I don't know
Yeah.
about this case. And she put her hand on it and she said, I know you've already agreed to help me, but before we go any further, I've got to tell you something. And I said, okay. And she said, my husband is in prison for murder and I helped him.
Wow.
Now,
That's
Travis,
a
I
story right
know,
there.
I know that your career, people lied to you,
Always.
right? So I am, number one, taken aback because of the level of honesty. And then I'm taken aback because of what she just told me. So you know this about me, but I use humor. So I just said to her, I said, well, honey, you know, remind me not to make you mad, you know? And,
Yes.
and she laughed and she said, well, let me tell you. So she starts telling me this story and the story's familiar to me. And I said, wait a minute. Are you telling me your husband is the Flint River killer? And
Mhm.
she said, yes. And then that's when it started. So we had a serial killer that became a true victim of crime when his daughter was murdered, not by him.
Mhm.
And he went to prison, so he couldn't do anything about it. He couldn't search for her. He couldn't avenge her. He couldn't do anything. And so he turned to me and through Norma, and I told him yes, I would help. So I used a serial killer to catch a killer.
Well, I can't wait to read this book.
Thank
I
you.
can't wait to read this book.
Thank you.
That's a hell of a story, you know?
And
And
there's a
it
lot more
is
to it, sugar. I mean, and
oh,
twists
yes.
and turns and twists and turns and walls and, you know, it's a lot.
Yes, I know. And I'm looking a day into it, I really am. And that's what, May 12th? Do I have the date
Yes.
right?
It'll be
May
out May
12th.
12th.
So, go to Amazon, Barnes& and Noble, wherever, and pre-order it now for our friend Cheryl,
That'd be
all right?
great. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
No, because it is, and we have a lot of readers, that's why we started this thing because I'm an author myself,
Well,
and that's
good.
so we got a lot of readers listening, hopefully you sell some books.
Well, listen, let me tell you this. If they like the book and they want me to come back after May, not only will I come back, I'll bring Norma with me. Yeah, you can ask her all kind of questions. Her husband, Carl, unfortunately, he has died. But there's a lot to the stories. I've got all the letters between Carl and I. So you can ask any question you want once you read the book because
Well, that's
there's a lot
fascinating.
to it.
That'll be a hell of a show. Yeah, I would love that. I
Awesome.
would love that. So and that's, again, something that you just touched on a little bit. I know you and I already have an understanding, but so for our listeners, just how complicated, okay, some of these cases are, just how
Yeah.
convoluted and complicated they can be. Um, and something again on our end, as a detective, I was never a crime scene detective. I was an
Hmm.
investigator.
Hmm.
Most of my time actually was spent in narcotics. I did mostly narcotics work.
Hmm.
Um, but when crime scene would show up for us, you know, you guys really, really would enhance the cases because you had all the technical know-how,
Sure.
things that we didn't know about, understand, to tell you the truth, and not to sound, I don't want to say arrogant, but it was something that I didn't care about. I just waited for you to do your job to make my job easier, you
Yeah.
know? Can you
Listen, that's
maybe
important though.
Oh,
Everybody has a
yes,
position. You've got to play your
absolutely.
position. And that to
Yes.
me is what I love most about this job. But let
Mhm.
me tell your folks out there, you're watching it right now with Nancy Guthrie. You wanna
Yes.
talk about complicated. Is she being ransomed or not? We don't know. Do they have DNA? We don't know, of the perpetrator. Do they have more video? We don't know. Do they have bed sheets, a glove? We think so, but we don't know. And a lot of that, they have to keep close to the vest, as you know, Travis.
Yes.
But what we're watching in that case, to me, is nothing but twists and turns, and you think something might be incompetent, but then you realize, wait a minute, that might have been deliberate. So I
Correct.
think once this thing completely plays out, we don't know. Like the man that they stopped and they detained him, I
Yes.
don't know that that wasn't tickling the wire. I don't know.
Mhm.
I know they
That's right.
didn't block that street off. I know they let the media come right there and watch the whole thing, interview his mother in law, interview him. I don't know how that happened if it wasn't on purpose.
Yes, yes. And again, we never know,
Yeah.
That's why quite often for myself, I don't even bother with these things when they're on TV. I don't pay attention at all. In fact, I'm constantly telling people, well, for years I owned bars. I don't own them anymore. I own two different pubs. And it was always whatever the conversation was. And it was always, let's ask Travis. He was a retired detective.
Right.
And I didn't pay attention to it at all because no matter what I say, when it's finally all done, over, the smoke is cleared, and the truth does show up, if we ever truly learn the truth, because the media doesn't give that to us either, with the conspiracy theories and the doubt and blah, 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 is you don't know. You
Right.
have nothing to do with this case. You have no
Right.
idea. Wait till it's over. Then we'll know.
Let them do their job.
Exactly. Exactly. But tell for our listeners here, let's get a little rundown from your angle. All right, what it is to go through a true crime scene
Mm.
investigation.
Well,
You get
I
the
will
call.
I will dispel one thing.
Yes.
I am not the person like that you see on TV that walks up and goes, "Hey, Myers, what do we got?"
Yeah.
I don't wanna know what you think. I
Yes.
wanna be able to go in there and then come back out and tell you, "Hey, detective, this looks natural, this looks like an accident, or we got a homicide," right?
Mhm.
So, I like to go in by myself and I assess it first. Then I want my lead detective to go in, and then I want us to talk. If we're on the same page, groovy. If not, we're going to go back in together. What did I miss? What am I
Mhm.
reading differently than you? And why am I seeing it differently? So let's just take Nancy Guthrie because everybody knows it right now. I would not have left those flowers. If you
Yes.
look at that front door, there's a vase to the right, no flowers in it, no flowers to the left. Nobody's going to have flowers as their ruse. Like they're not delivering them at 1 a.m. So they didn't make any sense. I don't have to know how they connect. I'm going to take it and me and you'll figure it out later.
Mhm.
But they didn't take them. Could they possibly have DNA? Could
They
he
could
have,
have
he
so
had a
many.
flashlight in his mouth, right? You don't think he readjusted that flashlight and had DNA on his fingers, even though he's got gloves on? Of course he did. And then when he broke them and pulled them, you take them. You don't leave something that just doesn't make any sense. It wasn't there naturally. So you should have taken it, so that sort of thing. You do not get in a hurry. Nobody's going home, right? So you just
Yes.
got to relax and lean into it. We're here, we're going to be together. And I think the more confidence you have in the people you're working with, I know what you're bringing to the table. You know what, Johnson's bringing to the table. You know what Wilkerson's bringing to the table. That's what matters. So if the four of us are now standing somewhere, hey, you think we can release this thing? You'd be like, are you out of your mind, Mac? We're not releasing this scene. We don't know where this woman is. We don't know if she's got dementia, if she's been kidnapped, if she's dead in the basement. You
Yes.
don't leave. You don't close it up because you think you have everything. Going back 4 times is just embarrassing. I've never
Absolutely.
seen that.
Absolutely. Well,
So,
from what I understand, I
you
think it's
know,
a fairly well-to-do community,
yep.
and they don't deal with it. They just don't.
And I
Where
understand, but that's
I
why I'm
know
telling
for
you.
yourself coming from Atlanta or myself
Sure.
coming from the Bronx, I mean, it was literally a weekly thing. And
Yes,
in the '90s, it was homicide every week,
every
you know,
week. But here's the deal.
nonstop.
I know they don't want police cars. I know they don't want police tape. I know they don't want that look, but we have what we have. And we cannot answer to the neighbor just because they're throwing a party the next day and they don't want crime scene tape up. Sorry, it is what it is. And that crime scene belongs to me. Nobody tells me, not the chief, not the sheriff, nobody. So, you know, you take your time, you look at everything. What do we have? We have blood at that scene. We have a broken camera. We have flowers that don't make any sense. Her phone is there. Her hearing aid is there. Her cane is there. Her walker's there. We got a problem. And then when you start looking at medicine bottles, we got a real problem,
Sure.
right? And then that telephone. I don't care who you are, you got your phone. From a teenager to somebody homeless to somebody in the hospital, they have their phone. So if she does not have that, plus her medicine, plus her walker, plus her hearing aid, I got a real bad feeling and I've got a major crime scene. Then when I see the blood, not just on the inside, but the outside, and then you gotta try to read it. What does the blood tell you, Travis?
Yes.
Well, Brian Enton, who you know, he got great photographs of the front door. If you look at that blood, there's 3 distinct patterns. There's drops, there's spray, and there's a transfer pattern. We got a situation here.
Well, absolutely.
So that's basically working a crime scene. And then you pull Travis aside and Wilkerson and everybody else, and you're like, oh, this looks really bad. I don't know if she's dead or alive, but I know she ain't here. And it looks to
Yes.
me like she's got limited time because she's bleeding on
Yes.
blood thinners. So
Yes.
there
No,
we go.
I am, geez, what do I wanna say? Afraid of how this is gonna turn out in the end. So, to
Yep.
put it as nicely as I can. So,
Look, we're on day 11.
yeah.
Come on.
No,
I
no.
mean, this is not going to be a good outcome. I think Savannah Guthrie already knows it's not a good outcome. She's gone from talking to her mama to talking to the ransom author and her mama to not talking to either one of them. I think she knows. And sadly, I think law enforcement has some information. They've got video, they've got photographs, they know what happened at the front door. I think they know what happened when they exited. I think they've seen it. Of course, they're not gonna release that, but it's a bad, bad situation.
Well, it's a bad situation, and he, they, whatever the situation may be, will absolutely be caught. We know that they've already made mistakes, and
Agreed.
if you're making one mistake, you're making more, all right?
I'm
Uh,
shocked that somebody hasn't already come out and said, "Hey, I sold him that holster and that pistol," because 'cause they're
right.
weird, they're unusual. That's
Yes.
not a holster you're gonna see from a gangbanger or some type of kid that is purchased something legally, right? It's just unusual they would select that. It doesn't even seem to fit the way they're carrying it right in the middle. Like,
Mhm.
everything is off. The backpack being stuffed full, like, it's
The
weird.
little that I saw about that guy, that was caught on the camera,
Yeah.
his whole getup and everything seemed very odd to me, and I hate to say because to be honest, when I say professional, you know, we're not talking about somebody that professionally kidnaps people, but this is not a guy who was, um, I can't think of a better word than professional, that was really hip to what he was doing.
I can't
I don't
agree
believe
more.
I don't believe that he probably has no military experience. He did seem to me. Here's a question for you now,
Mhm,
since we're talking about the Guthrie case. I didn't know we were going to go this direction, but he did seem very, very relaxed
mhm,
in that film.
mhm.
Familiar, how's that for a word? He seemed familiar
Agreed.
with where he was,
He was
meaning
controlled.
to me, if there's no relation to the family, and I'm not
Mhm,
saying it's the son-in-law or any of these other theories, I have no idea. I don't know that much about the case, to tell you the truth. But just from what I seen, I bet he had been there before, at the very least, had cased the place out, if he hadn't even possibly burglarized the place and then returned. And when I say burglarized, broke in to see the layout, to see where things were
mhm.
before he conducted this crime. What do you
Yes.
think?
I think
You
you're
agree?
I think you're accurate. He was certainly
Okay.
controlled. He didn't seem nervous. His hands weren't shaking. Now, he did some unusual things. I don't understand why he cupped his hand and didn't just completely block the camera. That was weird. I mean, I've watched it I don't know how many times, and I keep asking myself, why would he do that? That's all you gotta do. I mean, cover your camera. He didn't
Yeah.
do that.
Yes.
Um, the weapon is odd, and let's just be real, y'all. An 84-year-old woman who can't walk 50 yards by herself with a pacemaker, you don't need a weapon to control her. She
Mhm.
doesn't have to bleed for you to get her out of that house. So what concerns me is that backpack is full. Full of what? Full of
Yes.
what that you're taking inside that house? It ain't empty, so you're not there to commit a robbery or a burglary because 'cause you're not
Yes.
stuffing it with loot. It's full of what? Some
Mhm.
way to bind her, some way to torture her, some way to leave items that don't make any sense as a red herring. I don't know what's in there, but it ain't nothing good.
Well,
And
again, I have no I'm not listeners, understand, I'm not invested in this case. I haven't studied it. I don't know it all. But if I was just to throw a wild guess out there right there, a Travis theory,
huh?
okay? With what I'm seeing, I am very curious if she's alr I hate to say it, she was already dead. He's showing up to clean up the mess that he made. You see? He may have, because we know the back door was open, he may have broken in the back door. Something might have happened. He says, "You know what? I'm coming back. That backpack is packed with bleach or whatever to clean up."
Right.
He didn't clean everything up, obviously, because we still have I have no idea, you
I'm
know,
with you. I'm with
but
you
there's a very
100%.
good chance that, she was dead to begin with, and who knows, by the time this airs, we may know, you know?
That's right. And listen, when you say to the listeners, these cases are always complicated, they are complicated. Listen,
Absolutely.
nobody dies when it's convenient. You're going to be murdered when you're having an affair. Well, that's going to make my job harder. You're going to be murdered when you're broke. That makes my job harder. You may be murdered when you've already committed a crime yourself. It makes my
Yes.
job harder. It's never just this easy A to B. It's really not. And I've mentioned that case only because I think most people are watching it and they're confused. And that's what I'm saying. Sometimes we are too. Sometimes we don't know what we're looking at. Is this Bitcoin real? Is this electronic thing sent to TMZ real? Or is all
Yes.
this a red herring, some con artist trying to benefit? So what they're having to do right now is work, I think, a homicide case as well as a kidnapping for ransom. And they have to see, do these cases intersect at all? And if so, where? And if
Yes.
not, then you got more than one perpetrator with more than one crime that are not associated.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be sadly, I think it's gonna be a very, very interesting case once we finally unravel it.
I agree.
And
I agree.
and then when we do, because it's gonna be convoluted, there's no reason to do this to an 84 whatever she's 83, 84-year-old woman.
84.
Yes. So,
Yeah,
I think it's much more than the kidnapping that they're letting on to, you
I
know? I'm not
agree.
saying she wasn't kidnapped. I think there's much more to it than this, you know, and I'm very
Agreed.
curious to see what it is. So,
Agreed. Well,
alright.
I can't wait to see you in Boston. I can't wait to talk more about cases and crime, but I
Yes.
just appreciate it so much. I mean, you've got a great platform, you've got a great audience. You are a fantastic interviewer. You're a good
Well,
friend.
thank you so much.
So I appreciate it. This has been fun.
Yes. Yes. And unfortunately, we have to cut it short, don't we? Because
I
you
got to
is it
get back
Savannah
to it.
Guthrie stuff that you have to do right now?
It is. It is. And you know what I almost feel like? I feel like we have dueling accents. Like, like I love your accent, but it's
Well, I
like,
love
what did
yours
he
too,
say?
and I tell you what, it reminds me of my time in the Army, and well, here's the thing, this is a generational thing, though, where I sadly feel that accents are not going by the wayside. Everybody
Yeah.
sounds like they're on television now, like a
Yeah.
news reporter,
I
you know?
agree. I agree.
Because when I was a kid, you know, growing up in New York City, I could tell what borough of the city you were from how you spoke, you
Absolutely.
know? And
Yeah.
then, you know, my time in the military, I was down in Fort Bragg in North Carolina. I
Sure.
love that North Carolina accent, you know, it's a really
Absolutely.
rich, good
Yes.
Southern accent. I
Yes.
also really love a true Texas accent, both the Eastern Texas accent, which is very different than the Western Texas
That's
accent,
right. That's
but they're
right.
very distinct, and I love them,
But
you
it's
know?
like North, Georgia compared to Atlanta compared to South Georgia. I mean, it's
Sure.
completely different,
Yeah,
but it should be, and it should be celebrated, all of it.
and sadly, it's going away,
I know.
you know?
It is. It
Sadly, it's
is.
going away, and it makes me sad. It does.
Yes.
So, we're gonna see you at this new Crime Story Fest in
Yes.
Boston in October. Yeah, and obviously, I'm certainly sure you're gonna be at CrimeCon this year,
I
yes?
will be at CrimeCon.
In
Actually,
Vegas?
that's where I'm
Very good.
having the book launch, but I'll be there and
Oh,
I will be in Boston with you, no doubt.
well, good timing on that. That's good. Very,
Yeah, the
very good.
timing was nice for
Right.
sure.
Yeah. All right. Like I hate to say goodbye, but I know you got to go. But what can we add? What else can we talk about before we say goodbye? You got the book coming out.
Got the book coming out. I got a documentary coming out in May too.
Tell us about that real quick if you can.
I don't know if I can release too much, but let me just say this. It's one of the biggest mysteries of true crime in the United States. And they put a team of us together and we went on a little adventure. And I think come May, you're going to dig it.
All right. Well, I am really looking forward to this.
Yeah, it
Again,
was a lot of fun.
such an interesting woman, and we didn't even talk about all the animal work you do.
Oh, I gotta come back, and you gotta
Yeah.
come out. You gotta see some of the training we're doing. It's unbelievable. It's
Yeah.
second to none, I'm telling you.
It's phenomenal. Again, I can't believe all the things that you're into. I don't know how you find the time. I really don't. So, yeah, you do a CSI thing for animals, which is amazing. Oh,
Yes, the only one
amazing.
like it in the world. It's awesome.
Right. Very
But
cool,
I
Cheryl.
appreciate you so much.
No, I appreciate you, and I know you gotta get going, otherwise we talk for another hour.
I
So,
would easily sit right here.
yeah, but so nice to finally get together, all right? And hopefully we'll do it again soon.
Count on it.
All the best, my love. Thank you so much.
Thank you, honey.
Okay, so sadly, we had to cut our conversation a little bit short. Funny enough, we went on a tangent, as you all just listened, and we're kind of talking a little bit about this Nancy Guthrie case. And just before we started recording, Mac got a call from Fox News, and they actually went to her house, parked in her driveway, and did an interview with her. Take a look.
Side of this, the cyber side of this.
I think the retail is important, but I think what's more important is that backpack is filled. Trace Gallagher, you know good and well, it doesn't take a backpack full of items to get an 84-year-old woman with a pacemaker out of her house. What was in that backpack, he took with him inside. That was for whatever the commission of whatever crime he chose, whether it's something to bind her with, something to cover her with. It was important to him to go mission ready. This man has got a mask, he's got a gun, he's got a mouth flashlight, and he's got a backpack full of items that are there to do harm. And we know that because she was bleeding when she left. And yes, it's important to know it came from Walmart. I think it's more important to know the trail of blood and, the direction.
Yeah, I think you're right. Panel, stand by if you would. Coming up, manhunts that once relied on tips and luck.
Right after our interview. Amazing. So anyway, yes. Hopefully she'll be back soon. We want to hear all about her book. I really wish you could have heard more about the work that she does. She does some really amazing stuff with animals. She's got so many different cases that she's worked on in Atlanta and assisted on in other areas also. She's a phenomenal, hardworking crime scene investigator. And I'm proud to know her and very happy to have her on the show and can't wait to have her back. Now, before I leave, we got a question for me from questiontravistoday@gmail.com. This one is from Tracy in Minnesota, who asks, Travis, how do you decide who to have on your program? Well, Tracy, it's different all the time. I wish I could just had a basic answer for you, but I don't. We search people out that we know we want to talk to. Other people search us out that they know they want to come on the show. If it's an author and we know the book, I'll reach out to them. If it's somebody I know from CrimeCon, or another crime event, we meet a lot of people in these events, and we'll get together that way. We'll have publishers reach out to us. Hey, please, are you interested in having this author on? That's where we get some of our authors. As you know, many of the people I introduce are friends, either from my time in the police department, friends from New York City that I grew up with, people that I know from the music world, the comedy world, whatever. I invite them on. Come on, let's have a conversation. They come from all over the place. I can actually honestly say that we've only had one person so far that I hate to say it, I guess we rejected him. He was an author, and I really, really didn't like his book. So it broke my heart to do so, but I had to say, listen, I'm not going to have you on because I really didn't like your book. He's going to remain nameless. I'm not going to name the title of the book because I don't want to hurt the fella. But I just thought it was the right thing to do. I didn't want to promote a book that I didn't want you guys to buy a book that I thought was trash. So we didn't bother with him. But overall, they come from all over the place. So there's no real answer. People write in, and again, we search them out, and that's it. We get together any way possible. And luckily, people like to be on the show, and we love to have people on the show. And so far, everybody, I think, has been pretty interesting. And if you're a regular watcher, I hope you agree. Okay? So there you go. Please, everybody, do like Tracy did. Write into questiontravistoday@gmail.com. Leave your questions, and we'll do our best to answer them. Other than that, I got nothing for you today. Please do the right thing. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and we'll do it all again next week. Thanks, and all the best.
Hey, crime fans.
Join us October 9th through 11th at
Crime Story Fest.
Crime Story Fest.
Crime Story Fest
At the Doubletree Hilton on Boston's North Shore, Danvers, Massachusetts location.
Crime Story Fest, all things crime and mystery festival.
Come visit us at Crime Story Fest.
What else you got going on? What, you gonna watch another documentary on Netflix? Come on down to Crime Story Fest. Enjoy yourself. Have a good time. Meet some of your favorite podcasters, authors, experts. This October, Boston, be there. Hey there, true crime fans. Let me introduce you today to the Cold Case Initiative. The Cold Case Initiative is a foundation that donates money to smaller police agencies all over the country. It does this in order to offset the costs of scientific, forensic, and DNA testing with the hope of solving cold case homicides and other horrific violent crimes that otherwise would remain unsolved. Please, if you have it in your heart and a little money to spare, go to www.coldcaseinitiative.org. Again, that's www.coldcaseinitiative.org and lend a hand where it truly is needed. Be a part of solving a cold case. Every little bit helps. Know that 100% of the donations that go to the Cold Case Initiative go to agencies that are desperately in need of the help. So please, if you can, do the right thing and make a donation. Thanks, and all the best, my friends. Hey, how you doing? Another nobody here, Travis Myers. This one's going out in particular to all my drinking friends out there, because I got a new favorite thing, and it's called Shanky's Whip, and it is magical. It's Irish whiskey mixed with a little caramel, a little cream, a little vanilla, and it's heavenly. What more can I say? I suggest you pick up a bottle. You can have it as a shot with a cold beer, like I like. On the rocks, it's great. Mix it with a little cola. I promise you, you're going to love this stuff. Next time you raise a glass, think of me, another nobody, Travis Myers. Hey, do the right thing. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any more of my nonsense. All the best, my friends.